What's going on, guys? For those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Ty, and today in this video we're going to be talking about the next Captain America film, Brave New World. That's coming out in like a month. Honestly, kind of crazy to believe that this movie is coming out so soon because I feel like, I don't know, things have just been moving so quickly, and it feels pretty good that we're having a pretty large blockbuster film this early in the year, this Valentine's Day. And again, like I already said, basically a month away. So I really wanted to talk about this film because I'm going to be honest with you guys, I am pretty excited for this movie. I feel like the trailer actually looks great. But the problem with Marvel Studios, if you want to call it a problem, it's more of a praise, is that Marvel is just so damn good at making trailers. They are undeniably great at making trailers. Regardless of the quality of their products, every single trailer that they put out is awesome. But the issue is the final product, it feels like never actually lines up with the quality of that trailer, which kind of does suck. But either way, Captain America 4, right? I feel like there's a lot of pressure on this movie's shoulders, and that's really what I want to talk about here today because I'm kind of scared for this movie. Now listen, hear me out. I am very, very excited for this film, but again, I am scared for it. I feel like everything in the world has been and is working against this movie being good, having a successful box office run, just all the above. And I think that this is a film that Marvel really needs to be good, especially because of the fact that maybe I'm crazy for saying this. This feels like our first connected, grounded film since like the Endgame, Infinity War, Civil War era, basically, like since Phase 3. And I feel like every single project has been so focused on a single character or the multiverse that we haven't had, a more political film, a more grounded film like a Winter Soldier. Speaking of Winter Soldier, that's what this seems like this film is going to try to be encapsulating, right? Where there's all this secret stuff going on. It's more dealing with, the U.S. politics, like the president, played by Harrison Ford, of course. And I think that this is going to be a pretty good film if everything goes right. The problem is we know that things haven't been going right, and that's what I want to talk about here today. Now listen, I think the way I'm going to break this down is just by going over each part of the film, or at least like each element that goes into making a film. Let me just start off with the easiest one that I should be calling out first, the release date. This movie was supposed to come out basically like a year ago, and I understand that there was the writer strikes and the actor strikes, all this crazy stuff. Even you could say the pandemic, but obviously that was so long ago at this point. But still, Marvel had to move their slate, they had to reorganize things. In my opinion, and this is a thought that I had only like within the past week or two, I was kind of thinking, why wasn't this like one of the first movies after the pandemic? Like when Black Widow was coming out, when Shang-Chi was coming out, when No Way Home, The Eternals were coming out. Why didn't Captain America 4 come out to kind of just establish this universe? Maybe give us a sense of what's going on with maybe the Avengers, or at least just give us some hope that it's going to be happening. But now it's been like 4 years since early 2021 when, WandaVision came out and stuff. It's just been a really awkward slate that they put out. And again, I understand that, things had to change, this, that, but this should have been their top priority since day one, post-pandemic, post-Endgame, and Far From Home, of course. But either way, just since that time. But again, this movie got moved, and there's a lot of things that have happened within the past year or so since it got moved. The next thing that I want to get into here is the characters just as a whole. I think the first thing that we have to look at here, sort of the elephant in the room that I don't mind, but it's going to be Captain America, right? Now we have Sam Wilson playing Captain America. Do people care about Sam Wilson as Captain America? I don't know. A lot of the general audiences, they only care about Steve Rogers, of course, who now is no longer a character. Basically, he's dead. Apparently, he's coming back in Doomsday, but that doesn't matter right now. I'm focusing on this film. I know that a lot of people are going to say, well, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, a lot of people liked him, but you got to keep in mind, not everyone has Disney Plus, not everyone watched that show. I do like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but at the same time, I thought it was okay, and I would not have minded at all if 4 years ago when that show came out, we just replaced that show with this movie. And again, this movie would have been 4 years old at this point. It would have basically just kind of kicked off Phase 4. I think that would have been a better decision just to kind of, get the audiences going rather than just kind of easing things in with the show, because we already watched Cap give Sam the shield in Endgame. That's kind of like all we needed realistically. I like Sam as Captain America. I actually would say I love Sam as Captain America. I think he deserves it over someone like Bucky, who honestly has like committed war crimes. And again, love Bucky, but it's just the point. We have to move on though to the other characters, and this is where we start to get into kind of murky territory, honestly. We're kind of digging through the mud here. The first part, and this kind of ties into another point that I'm going to be talking about in a minute with reshoots, is the fact that there have been characters that have been put into this film and also removed from this film during the editing process, during the script writing process. For those of you that don't know, WWE wrestler Seth Rollins was apparently going to play someone in the Serpent Society. He filmed scenes, all that. He just reported that he's not even going to be in the movie and that they actually cut his character out of the movie. Clearly there isn't like a solid script or some type of foundation that they were working with. And again, that scares me because when you're kind of just Frankensteining a movie together, that's honestly the best way I could describe this film. That doesn't exactly instill faith in me that this is going to be an incredible comic book film. On top of that, there's also a character that, again, I don't really want to get into this, that was an Israeli agent. And of course, this is a bit of an odd time to have a character with that origin because people are saying they're going to try to push certain things. But again, I can understand why they wanted to try to maybe get rid of that, but apparently she's still in the movie, so it's just a very awkward situation. From there, in the past year or so, whatever the timeline is, since they've delayed this movie, they've literally added in Giancarlo Esposito's character. He was not in the movie originally. They added him in. They filmed extra scenes during reshoots to put him in the movie. I understand that with the power of editing, you could obviously make a very seamless film and we won't really recognize. But I'm afraid, again, because when you're adding and removing characters with scenes that you've either already filmed and you're removing them, or you're filming new stuff and then you're adding it into a film, that clearly shows me you didn't have an original direction on day one. You didn't have some type of vision where you're like, this is the movie we're gonna make. Don't get me wrong, Harrison Ford was there day one, Sam was there day one. It feels like everything else in the middle has just been a bit wishy-washy. There hasn't been some type of solid story or idea where they were like, you know what, this is such an interesting story. I'm so excited to tell this. Like I already mentioned too, there's just been a ton of reshoots for this film. And that's kind of what I already talked about basically. I don't want to harp on it for too long, but they've done a lot of reshoots for this movie. Apparently they added more action. And from there, another thing that I want to talk about, because this feels like another factor working against this movie. Apparently they did test screenings. And for those of you that don't know, test screenings is when they actually show people the movie. Like people have seen this movie, but I'm sure that they sign an NDA and stuff, they can't say anything about it. And the test screenings were pretty negative. They reworked the movie, okay? They did reshoots, they re-edited the movie. They did more test screenings and they were still negative. And the most recent negative test screenings are apparently the most recent cut of the movie. So if people have seen the film, they didn't really like it, that doesn't exactly make me very happy. And don't get me wrong, I understand that it's probably a very small sample size in comparison to the thousands, if not millions of people that are going to end up watching this movie. But still, there's a reason they do test screenings. If 30 or 50 people are watching a movie and a lot of them don't like it, that kind of gives you an idea of where things are going, right? Listen, while I might be scared for this film, I just want to give you a reason or two why I'm still very excited. First of all, that trailer instilled this hope in me, like I already said, okay, about instilling hope. That this could potentially be like the Winter Soldier. You can't trust anybody. There's all this secret stuff. Someone's pulling the strings secretly. And I really, really like that. Hopefully, they'll be able to tell this really good secret spy type of story where, again, you have to be looking over your shoulder. Who can you trust? Who can't you trust? The Winter Soldier is my favorite MCU film, so I would absolutely love that. And even if they could capture half of that magic, I think this would be still such a great film. And I know that now we have a Red Hulk in here, but either way, that's kind of just a guy who's there to kind of just start punching stuff. I think it's almost even more interesting because of the fact that it's the president. It's Harrison Ford as the president. That's really awesome to me. Where's this film going to go? I don't know, but either way, I have faith in Sam Wilson. I have faith in Anthony Mackie, of course. I have faith in this film, and I'm still excited. And listen, I just wanted to come on here and just talk about why I am scared for this movie, and I hope it's good, especially because the box office projections were pretty decent. They weren't anything great, they weren't anything horrible, but I pray that this movie is going to be good, because I think that it's actually my most anticipated MCU film of the rest of the year. I'm still excited for Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts, but this is the one that, I don't know, man, something about Falcon, I just absolutely love him. I like the more grounded political stories in the MCU, so I'm pretty excited. But let me know what you guys think down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.